Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Insufferable Bastards podcast. Hello, Shuli.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
The only time anybody watches this podcast is when we talk about Stuttering John.
Hi, this is Stuttering John Melendez from the Howard Stern Show.
It's all Long Island to me.
The second she saw the face, she said, "Oh, yeah, that was him."
Oh, you're the guy that played fake clips of me. Yes, I remember now.
It's a stupid name, but maybe it's worth listening to. How the fuck do I know? I got my own problems. I got hemorrhoids and shit. When I wipe my ass, it looks like a chocolate-covered cherry. All right, Gaggia.
Gaggia is right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Insufferable Bastards podcast. My name is Carlos Danger. For the purposes of this broadcast, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Brian Spears. Hello, Brian.
Hello, hello.
And making a return appearance to the broadcast. You know him. You love him. The world's most popular dabbler, Obnoxious John.
I don't know about that, but thank you. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. So, all right, it's like 7:04. This is the second. I went live and then I forgot to hit the live button, so I apologize. That was really dorky of me. I want to talk about, if you guys are okay, two things tonight. The week in Ray DeVito. I'm always interested in Ray DeVito. And then we'll throw around The Joke Man, the new documentary from Jackie the Joke Man Martling, of course, from the Howard Stern Show. Years in the making, delayed by COVID. It's available on Amazon and Apple. Purchase it is like $13. Rent it is about $6. Now, OJ, I know you didn't get a chance to watch the documentary. You said that before we went live. Brian, did you watch The Joke Man?
I have about 15 minutes left.
You have about 15 minutes left. Thank you both so much for preparing for this broadcast. I deeply appreciate it.
This morning.
You found right. Okay. What do you think I've been doing all week? You don't think I'm not doing anything?
Oh, all right.
Okay. I don't even want to get into it. Did you work today?
Yeah, I did.
Son of a bitch. All right. So Ray DeVito. You guys know Ray DeVito? Ray DeVito had a week. Right? Now, by the end of this, we have to determine who is the dabbler of the week. It's now a tradition on this show. Now, people get a little anal retentive. Dabbler of the week can mean hack verse of the week, mud verse of the week, shitcast of the week. You know what I'm saying? Whatever all this is. So by the end of this, we got to decide on someone. Ray is always a contender. The big thing that happened to Ray this week, he was on WATP. Who Were These Podcasts? With Carl Hamburger. And surprise, surprise, they critiqued Ray's podcast, the Rock Bottom Podcast. Did either of you guys see or hear Ray on WATP?
I did see a little bit of it. I did not see all of it.
So, and the other thing I should mention, I did invite a special guest from the Dabbleverse. We will see if he or she shows up. The person does have the invite. No, it's not Casey Armstrong. Well, the thing that sort of threw me off on Ray's appearance, I don't know, about a half hour into the broadcast, he accuses me of molesting children, which, yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop. So here's our first clip. It's called Ray Calls Me Bad Things, and it's from WATP.
Now, what's great is that you give some advice. So again, let's learn. You're talking about, like, it's tough to come back from being a pedophile. From being a well-known pedophile. That's a rough one.
Ask Carlos Danger. He's struggling with it.
Whoa!
I had to throw him under the... That's a
what
joke.
Just happened?
That's a joke.
Okay.
A fake guy, Carlos Danger. It's not even his real name. It's
I knew that.
It's a different Carlos Danger. I'm talking about the old senator, whatever that Wiener was. What was Wiener?
Yeah. Anthony Weiner, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
All right.
You gotta love Ray, because he just brings WATP to a halt by throwing out. I mean, it was a good line. It did make me laugh, but it was just out of nowhere. And I thought you could see Carl almost seem maybe annoyed by that joke. Oh yeah, Carlos Danger. He's a child molester. By the way, Carlos Danger is named after Anthony Weiner, who was a U.S. congressman, not a goddamn senator. Ray, thoughts?
Was he a pedophile?
No, that's the other thing. Yeah, he still Ray could. I mean, it was clearly it was a joke, but people can sue. There was nobody ever said the guy was of that way. But I don't know. That was typical Ray.
He could. Yeah, you would have thought he would have went for like Anthony Cumia, but no, he went with Carlos Danger.
Well, and not only that, and I guess this is what bothers me a little bit sometimes about Ray. I've told him 100 times, say whatever you want about me, please. If you think of a funny line, it's okay. You don't have to hold back, because sometimes I've gone on with Ray, and I've been on Rock Bottom Podcast too many times, right? I acknowledge that, but sometimes he doesn't. He holds back, right? But if you're going to say something like that, if you're going to accuse somebody of possibly being a child molester in that way, it's a pretty sick burn, as the kids say. Why not throw it at, I don't know, your legions of enemies in stand-up comedy, like a Gino Bisconti? He gets nothing from Ray. Can't speak his name. Ignores him. Guy shits on Ray 24 hours a day. Ray doesn't say anything like that to him. Patrick Melton. I don't recommend fighting back against Patrick Melton, but that was another one. Chad Zumach. But Ray unleashes on me. So I see what you're doing there, Ray. I will not be appearing on your podcast tonight.
Ooh. Did Ray reach out to you to come onto his show tonight?
Twice in the last hour. Yeah, Ray might go live, I think, at 9:30 or 10. And if anything, Ray needs less of me, right? The whole thing was Carl and producer Chris and other people critiqued Rock Bottom during WATP, and Carl's a good critic, right? I think we can all agree the guy's a good critic. He goes for the funny. It's an entertaining show, but also he can say things that hurt because I think they're true.
And he always does it usually with a smile on his face, so it's a little less offensive.
He's like the Joker. Yeah, he can't. It hurts. But here he is talking about how any issues or any critiques that he has with the Rock Bottom podcast. And I don't know if he's specifically talking about Ray's Shuley show at 1 p.m. only, or the show in general. But he says whatever problems there are not Ray's fault. This is about 1 minute and 44 seconds.
Because I think you're on the right path right now, and I'll tease what I'm going to say to you.
But for now, take a lap.
You gotta lose the baggage. I mean, the show. The reason why the show sometimes doesn't work is not so much you; it's some of the other people involved. The point is, there's no respect for the host of the show, and I have a problem with that.
It's like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
All right. Well, Stevie and oh, sorry, Ari, go ahead.
Yeah, we gotta not talk over each other. Only I talk over people.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
Be patient, for fuck's sake. I was really trying to be patient.
So, I'm going to say this, Ray. We need new co-hosts. We need new guests to coming on this show. Ari's a dud. She just talks and mumbles, and she thinks that no matter what's going on, she can just start talking. If someone's making a point, setting up a topic, she's just like, blah, 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 blah. Like, what the fuck? You're on a show. Let me point to Exhibit A. Lucy Tightbox. You see what she's doing right now? Keeping her mouth shut. Amazing. Love it.
I'm great at being a woman who is seen and not heard.
You're killing it over there,
Amazing.
Lucy. So, Ari, play this for Ari Ray, because she's got a lot to learn. Or I don't know, maybe just dump her and move on and find people who could be good and mix it up with you.
Yeah, it's funny because it's a bad show when your guests start interviewing you, which is kind of what they kept doing all throughout this episode. I'm a fan of the Ray DeVito Rock Bottom podcast, and one thing I've noticed is that the guests like to turn the tables on you and just kind of like,
hey, wait. What are you trying to say right now, Liam? I thought you were on my side.
I don't know. That was when Carl starts in on Ari Jane, you can see Ray. He's not liking that. Like that's hurting his feelings because he cares for her.
But Ray doesn't like any constructive criticism at all.
And I also disagree and think you should be on. You're the only one that should be on his show.
I feel like I was
Carlos. Was that clip from his channel or from the Shuley network?
I think that was could that have been Thursday's show that was supposed to be on at the time of Shuley's show? You know, like the Shuli Network.
No, hold on. I can tell you what it was. It was a review of the show on the Shuli Network, 1 p.m. That's from the shoot because producer Joe makes an appearance. It's from the Shuli Network.
From the last
I don't know how many he watched.
Well, then I agree with him 1000% because yes, and I agree with. I think that you are great. I think everybody thinks.
Well, see here. Can I just want to let me finish my thought. It's
Spears coming in hot.
What he said is correct. No one respects Ray. I think you're one of the few people that respects him and also tries to veer him in a direction where I do think anyone else on his show, not everyone, but a lot of these other people in the Dabbleverse, they take over Ray's show because they have their own agenda, their own, even Ari now at this point. And, not in a negative way, but they've become almost, Stevie Lou kind of he can steer it in his direction. Whereas I think you let
Stevie Lou beef of the week, you mean?
Well, yeah, like he always brings something to every show. He's got like an agenda, and I'm not knocking the guy. He's like, when you get Stevie Lou on, you get Stevie Lou and whatever Stevie Lou brings with it. And I think the problem, like, you understand this universe, so you work well with Ray. Now, yes, I don't think you should be on with Ray every week, every day, but I think they need a Ray and you like at least once a week. And I think even if it is to sum up, to give Ray information on the Dabbleverse that he never understands but always has a comment on. Also, stop with the comics, like his 2-bit comics from New York. Like I don't, and I'm not, it's just, they're not interesting, and Ray rambles too much.
Right. And Carlos tries to add to the show whenever he's on. When you get Ray on the Shuli Network, what they're doing over there is just trying to add to the trolling.
They just want trolls.
Right. They're not trying to help Ray. They're just trolling Ray the entire time.
And they want the train wreck show.
Right.
Rather than, and I get it. That's what everyone loves. I get why everyone loves Ray. I do. But if you're going to sit down and say, like, I think you steer it in a better direction. But yeah, I don't think I want to, I watch you enough every day. You
I felt like I was included
with Cardiff.
I feel like I was included as, because I am one of Ray's regular guests. I've probably been on his podcast more than anybody in the last 5 months.
And I would argue if they were talking about you. I do not think they were talking about you.
I guarantee you Carl would have had a clip of you like messing up horrendously and ruining the show. And I don't think there's a clip out there of you doing
and if they are, they're wrong about that. Because I think that his key word is they don't respect Ray, and I do believe that. And I think, you respect Ray.
I mean, I love Ray, but
I know we used to be best friends, and
I agree. I pretty much agree with everything Carl said. I thought maybe he hyper focused on Ari Jane a little too much, but this idea that people take over Ray's show, that's because of Ray. Ray is the architect of his show.
I won't argue
Ray
that.
Comes on there. I went on there the first probably a dozen times. There's no agenda. There's no structure. There's no outline. There's no discussion topics. And so naturally, you just start interviewing him. So I think like if it's not fair to blame Ari Jane for problems that Ray creates by bringing her on. The other thing, like when I go on Ray, right, I'm not Kevin Brennan. I'm not a comedian. I'm not funny. I just can't sit there. Like I have 18,000 clips and a piece of paper, and I got a notebook. I have to have some type of structure.
Yeah.
But it gets draining though, because then when you go on with Ray, he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to stick to any kind of, he kind of throws it off. And yeah, I used to think that Shuli was trying to make him into a whack packer. I called the show like on his first or second episode on the Shuli Network and said they were trying to do that.
We all did.
But at the same time, Ray is Ray. The train wreck that happens is not by anyone else's making other than Ray, I guess I'm trying to say. It can be frustrating to go on his show because essentially what it is, especially at night, and again, I'm not knocking Ray, it's just I don't.
Well, maybe that's what it is.
Anything
when you're on
is
there.
that, hold on. Is that Ray's? What is Ray's show? What's the format of Ray's show? It's a virtual dunk tank. Virtual dunk tank. Sorry, you pay whatever $5 and you insult Ray, and that's the entire show. So when you're, they're saying, "Oh, the guests take it over." What the fuck are the guests supposed to do? you're kind of just out there with your ass in the air.
Yeah, but
and it can,
at the same time, don't you think
he should have more comedians on, less Ari Jane and me.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, go ahead, OJ. Wait, hold on 1 second. Tiger Lily, Spears' background is concerning. Life-size dolls. I'll just say quickly, Brian's a special effects makeup artist. He worked on all Orange is the New Black, all the Netflix Marvel shows, a whole bunch of horror movies, including Smile that I guess came out. That's kind of American Horror Story. Did I say that already? So he's got weird shit in the background. Sorry.
So don't you think that it's a little bit of this where, okay, you know, back in school you had bullies, right? And bullies would pick on the dorky kid, and so then everybody else sees the bullies picking on the dorky kid, and then now everybody's picking on that kid because that's just the cool thing to do. I kind of think that is part of it with Ray. Yes, Ray has his quirks and is a strange guy, but I think that's what's going on there. Everybody's seeing how he's being treated by Shuley and those guys and Kevin, and you know, everybody wants to join in on the pile on. And that's just what you're supposed to do. That you're supposed to treat Ray like shit.
There is that weird YouTube phenomenon where I do this all the time, where I watch a show and I like a show and I try to copy the host. You know, I think a lot of people, when you get into chats and insulting Ray, you're inspired by a Patrick Melton, you're inspired by Shuley or Bob Levy or by Kevin Brennan. What happens sometimes, though, is like those guys are professional comedians, and once in a while somebody can just be like, I hope you get cancer and die, you know, or they start spelling out the N-word and all that good stuff. Right. I don't know. I thought Carl's critique and having Ray on there was, you know, I hate to say the word interesting because it's a cliche, but it was interesting, and there was a lot of food for thought there.
It was interesting, but I don't think Ray will take any. Like, it went in the ear, one ear and out the other. Like, that's the other issue. I mean, again, that's Ray's Ray. I mean, I get it, and that's why we all watch him. But
and trying to teach a 50-year-old man how to do something, and you know, like this guy, people are usually who they are, and they are not going to change. So everyone getting frustrated and trying to help Ray, it's just a waste of time.
There is some truth to that. Brian, you said, is Ray going to follow any of the advice that Carl gave? I mean, one thing, I'll play another clip. Carl explicitly said, don't have Ari Jane on anymore. This is from Ray's Rock Bottom podcast on his own YouTube page. It was either the next day after they recorded that or the day it was released.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on? Rock Bottom podcast. What's up? I got the lovely Ari Jane here with me. How are you, my dear?
I'm doing well. I'm going to make sure that there's a long pause before I start speaking.
Go ahead. Say how you feel. It's all good.
I can't argue with it. It's not like he was wrong. It just sucks. Like, because I could go ahead and get medicated and not have issues like that, but I don't want to be on the medicine. It just sucks to hear things about yourself that you know are true.
Yeah.
Well, we all learned, and we learned I'm a dud, and we learned that you shouldn't have me on here. I ruin your shows. So I was very surprised to get the link from you this evening.
No, what are you talking about? I love having you on. I wouldn't ask you on the show. Like, you sent me a text like, am I supposed to be on the show? Are you sure you want me? It's like, yes, of course I want you on the show.
I'm just surprised you didn't take his advice. He gives very good, sound, professional advice. He's a pro. I'm just surprised you chose not to listen to him this time.
What did I not listen to? You tell me. I'm trying.
Did I not listen to? How about everything, Ray? You never listen to anybody about anything.
In that clip, it's a 1 minute and 12-second clip, and he's not paying attention to her. He has no idea what she's talking about, even though at the beginning of the clip, he's like, well, tell me how you feel about the critique that Carl laid down on you during Who Are These Podcasts? And then literally 1 minute and 10 seconds later, he's like, what are you talking about? So God love you, Ray. But I will say, like, you know, I don't know. The other thing is Ray and Ari Jane, like, there's obviously some chemistry there, right? Ari Jane, Ray should buy her a better microphone so she can be heard, you know, because she's got that, whatever she's doing there. But like, as somebody who goes on Ray's podcast, that's a hard thing. Like, Stevie Lou took some shrapnel from Carl as well. But I don't go on when Ari Jane and Ray are together because they're, you know, it's like they're going on a date, you know, and then it's like of the fat guy up in the corner who wants to play clips and get Ray to react about Gino Pascanti screaming at him, or Ray Goots allegedly saying, I'm mad at you because you got to my house early. But I don't know. One last clip I have. The other thing going on in the Ray DeVito world, and I didn't see MLC. For all I know, Ray went on a killing spree and whatever. But Ari Jane is starting her own podcast. This is a clip, I think, earlier today or yesterday from Drunk on Cringe.
About the super chat. It's a new topic. It's important information, I should tell you.
Dr. Chow, the Mega G. Hey, good, AJ. You should start a show.
So I am.
What's your show?
With Dr. Chow. It's called What's Good. And all of it is good. We're going to blow unicorn farts right up everybody's ear holes. It's going to be so good. And none of this.
I can't associate. I like Dr. Chow, but I can't associate with him at all.
You're not invited.
Yeah.
Just teasing. Of course you're invited. Yes, you can.
Kevin Brennan would fucking lose his shit.
Well, I'm doing it for Kevin.
God, Jesus. He tried to he implied that Kevin was doing something highly illegal, which he's not. But just the fact that he tried to incriminate him, and I'm part of that show. I'm part of that show. So I can't. Kevin's mad that I just went on fucking BYB podcast. He's mad at me because I went on that knowing that they were going to have that headband guy on.
And I have never.
And then you jump on and you're hanging out with him for an hour. Like, hey, what's up? I know the guy you hate most in the world is one of my good friends. What's going on with you?
Yeah, it was on purpose. And it was to prove a point because my personal stance is I want to hear it all. I'm not going to believe
you're all leaving the garbage.
Yes, and I'm not going to believe it all necessarily. Okay, but I want to prove that it's possible to hear all this, and everybody's got their freaking muck, and everybody's got this against this person, that against that person. That person's worse than me. I'm better than this person. So you got to hate that person because I hate that person. You can't play with him on the playground. You can't say hi or shake that guy's hand because, he, whatever. It's like being in the middle of all that. And I think it happens with the listeners sometimes. We feel like, whoa, we're caught between mom and dad. We're afraid to say, oh, I like his show too. Oh, well, you do, you fucking suck. It's just it's a shitty position, honestly.
But when people are horrible people and do illegal things and try to get people thrown in jail just for entertainment,
I didn't go on there to become Gino Bisconti's best friend. And I think we all saw that. So.
I can't watch anything that human being does. Uncle Stokely, who's a good guy.
God, so gross.
There's a lot in that clip. You got Ray, of course, bending the knee to Brennan. His loyalty to Brennan is just unmatched. And then you have what Carl and his guests were talking about is there's no format to Ray. Although they didn't. I mean, I hang it on Ray. Since there's no format, you have Ari doing her own podcast on Ray's show. Maybe it's about self-help. I mean, I'm interested to see what she does with Dr. Chow. I like Dr. Chow, but I mean, the way she sprung it on him there, does anybody have thoughts about that, OJ?
Yeah, I think Chow is moving backwards. I was, becoming a fan of Dr. Chow, and I don't know what the hell this guy's thinking.
Why?
Ari Jane, I'm sorry. I spoke with Ari and I hashed out stuff with her. I promised because of Jake, I said, I wouldn't trash her anymore. But she's I don't know, man. I'm not liking her vibe. I don't know why she's here in our universe. I don't know what she's doing here. I don't know why she said that she didn't want to be a celebrity. And then the following week from there, she's done virtually every show. I just don't get Ari Jane. What is the purpose of Ari Jane?
Brian, do you watch the Ari Jane Ray show?
I watched some of it. I'm sort of I zoned out on her explanation just 10 minutes, 5 seconds ago. So listen, I think she's adorable. I just think, listen, we all keep saying how simple Ray is, or he's he's got us all fooled and playing us, but I think the guy's in love with this girl, and we're watching this guy fall in love, and she's flirting with everyone else. Like he's gonna go nuts. I'm waiting for Ray to break. I love when Ray goes nuts, but I do think whatever this like, Ari Jane might be, maybe not even intentionally playing him, but I think that guy is in love with her.
You pointed that out, and it made me think like 100 years ago when I was capable of feeling love. How when you like meet a girl, anything she says is funny and all that, and all like to do that on a stream for 2 hours
But
every
that's
night
the problem.
while collecting money for people to insult you is I guess it's great. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, it's but I mean, I find it a little like it's a little too. I don't know. This is where real world stuff like kind of collides, and it's like. I just don't want to see the guy get hurt, and maybe that makes me a piazza, but I just think like there it's like
everyone's trying to look out for Ray.
Yeah, and also like, I mean, the only time I find Bob Levy funny is when he's the disgusting old man because it creeps me out. And it's like, just shut up. Like, just shut up. Like when he talks about Ray, just bend her over the sink. But like,
you don't like the Bob Levy, Jim Florentine road stories in Canada and the strippers?
It is the most vile, disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life. That it's like shoe leather. But anyways, he's just that's my point. Like he's in love with this girl, and I don't know where she's at in her life, and she's having fun because every dude's giving her attention, and like she's the spotlight wherever she goes. I don't know if it's a good thing. Also, I don't know if she'll be able to handle like some of this that goes on, in these chats and all that, this whole other realm of the dabbler rather than just being a listener.
I think she is. I think she's now proven that she can definitely handle it. She's doing live streams with Pat Dixon for like 19 hours. I'm sorry, I've been ignoring the chat. I apologize profusely. Tampalytic converters, 5. I don't know what that is. Monetary something or other. Who said what?
Pounds, I believe.
Okay. Rock Bottom podcast tonight at 9:30 with DOC after Ray gets jacked at the gym. That's pretty cool. Nasty Al, the famous Nasty Al, who was a witness, who bore witness to Chad's stand-up comedy, I think on the Florida Panhandle a few weeks back. Thank you very much for the $49.99, Nasty Al. Very much appreciated. I'm here for OJ. So am I. But a big fan of Carlos Danger. Very much appreciate that. First time, long time.
Thank you, Nasty Al. You're the man.
I do have, what am I in now? I'm going to live things. Let me see if we missed anything. Well, let me play one more Ray thing, and then I'll go through some chats. And then we'll move on.
Super chat.
I just did them both. It says we have 2 up there. Oh, we have 3. Okay. All right. The famous Vaping Dago, $50. Thank you very much. It was cringe listening to her. Yeah, I mean, Ari Jane is great. She's nice. She's sweet. She's intelligent. She's brand new to podcasting, and she's learning to podcast. First of all, on Ray's stream, which isn't the best place to, she's just, the training wheels are now off. So give her time, I guess I'm trying to say. But thank you, Tampalytic Converters, Nasty Al, and Vaping Dago for your support. All right. So
thank you, Dago. You dirty wop.
You saw in that clip that Ray mentions going on the BYB podcast earlier this week, which to me was talk about like self-owned or forced errors. Like what was he thinking? Like he's been on that podcast before, certainly, right? It's connected to Stevie Lou. Okay, so those are the positives, but he knows that podcast is strongly aligned with Gino Bisconti, and it is what it is. I'm not casting aspersions on BYB or Gino Bisconti, but Gino Bisconti talks about Ray all the time, and Ray basically ducks him all the time. He did apologize to Gino Bisconti on Win by 2 months ago, but Gino didn't accept it, and then Ray sort of backtracked on that apology. You just think at the end of the day, you could not guess or expect that they were going to invite Gino onto that broadcast. It just blew my mind that Ray went on there. So I could understand, because KB has a history with that podcast. I could understand why KB would be pissed when one of his loyal soldiers does that. Here's a quick clip. It's 1:44 of Ray talking to Gino Bisconti's girlfriend, Keanu. Does anyone know her last name? I apologize. I should know that, but I don't. Keanu Thompson?
I think so.
I have no idea who she even is.
That sounds right, Carlos.
This will be my first time seeing her.
Her brother's a horror writer, by the way. He might do freelance for Fango. Brian, special effects.
Well, then I definitely don't know him because I haven't read.
No, you're not big into Fangoria anymore.
Not anymore.
Here we go.
I need the view over here.
You called me on the phone and you
I gotta go do my show, but
yes. You
I got
called me
this,
on the
Ray.
phone and
You
you
got
said
this, Ray.
I gave
You
out
got it.
E-Rock's number because I really needed the money. Do you recall that?
yeah, but I just showed you proof that
But now
Kuhn is
you're
the
saying-
only number I gave out. I
thought
did,
it was E-Rock's number too.
Yeah,
Well,
the
you did
Cunha-
say two numbers, right?
and then
I'm
there's
not a lawyer or anything, but this
there's
is not held
E-Rock.
up in the court of law. And listen, Ray, I've always been nice to you.
There's all right, all right. Well, then tell your boyfriend to quit being a dick to me. But I gotta jump off. I
Okay,
gotta do my
I
show.
have no
but-
control over him, but me.
That's all right. But
and
I
you
did
know-
not give out your fucking number, and I told you I didn't. So
Well, you said he
say
said
that.
to give out these numbers, and you said mine was one of them.
no,
And then
I
you
did
said
not.
you
That's a
sent them, but
fucking
you
lie. I
only
just said
actually
it was
gave out
E-Rock and
E-Rock.
Kumia. Yeah, you said
You
I
are
gave out
going
your
back
number.
on what you said. My
Kevin,
story is never
Talk to
changed.
Kevin. You know
I
can
don't give a
squash this.
fuck. I
Kevin
don't-
Brennan.
I know what
Kevin
Kevin
Brennan
does.
never said give out Keanu's number. He said E-Rock and Kumia. Those are the
So
only
why
two
did
people
you
he
call me
fucking
so
said.
immediately then? Why'd you call me and
You
say, well,
texted
there
me,
were 4
'cause you
numbers?
texted
I
me.
was getting calls. Oh, I still do.
You text.
Over
I
and
said it was
over.
4 people. I said the first 4 people that texted or called me because your boyfriend gave out my phone number. Those are the only people that got it.
So I thought it was supposed to be E-Rock, Kumia.
No,
And then who
you're
are the
fucking
other
not
2?
listening. No, that's
Whoa.
it. I said only the 4 people.
I
The
think you
first
need to
4.
look inward,
The first.
Raven.
All right, mute her for a second. The first 4 people that contacted me.
I like
First-
calling
back to the
Wait. Come on, Greg.
When he says mute her, I mean, hey, that shout out to Quadfather for a compelling broadcast there.
Shout
You
out to
gotta-
Ray for standing up for himself because
Oh, that's right. You were in the chat.
I
huh?
was
You were
in
on.
I was in that chat and I felt like, again, what a surprise. Everybody's ganging up on Ray, but I thought that Ray was making good points and I thought that he actually won the argument. He called out all of her bullshit, but they again, you know, Ray is Ray. Nobody wants to hear what he has to say. So Ray, according to everyone, is a liar and they're right. But that's not how I think she got confused when Ray said that he gave out the number to 4 people. In her mind, that became 4 people, including herself. He didn't give out her number. I believe Ray. Another person they had mentioned was Gino's brother. Ray doesn't have Gino's brother's phone number. So they're just trying to pile on Ray. And I'm not a fan of the Canoe at all. I would like to. I think that Canoe and Gino are perfect for each other.
I didn't set up that clip in terms of explaining the backstory of that feud between Gino and Ray, and now Gino, Ray, Keanu.
I'll tell you what that feud boils down to. That
Insanity. It's all just. It's the least
Gino,
interesting, but hottest.
Gino is jealous of Ray because he can't believe that the genius comedian that Gino Bisconte isn't getting the attention that Ray is getting. Ray, everybody is talking about Ray, whether they're for the right or wrong reasons. Ray is he's popular. He's hot right now, and Bisconte is jealous of that. Total jealousy.
I have over the years moderated debates between people running for mayor in municipalities or cities, right? You know, you do the whole outline. I will offer, if Gino and Ray want to come on this broadcast, we can have time limits. We can agree on a format, no crosstalk. We could make it happen and maybe hash this out. Maybe come to, the great thing about StreamYard is you mute. If you go over your time, you get a bell. You know, you just have to accept the fact that your mic will be turned off if you go over.
Well, if anybody could pull that
Mayor
off,
Koch could
would
do
be
it.
you. Yeah, you could.
Mayor Giuliani did it.
Give it a shot. I'd love to see you try.
B Dabbler, thank you very much for the $1.99. You have 20 more than Opie. What world do we live in?
That is crazy. Who would have ever thought?
Sir Vosa for $2. Carlos with a mustache is early Christmas. Yeah, no mustache rides. I like Cardiff threw that out on a stream I was on the other day, and now every time I'm in a chat, people are asking how much for mustache rides. Isaac Walmart $10. Shout out to OJ for sticking up for Ray while everyone else was piling on. Yeah, you were definitely is vociferous a word in that chat. You were definitely persistent. You were sticking up with to Ray.
I just call it like I see it. You know, Ray
For
is
Ray,
a Ray.
I mean.
Ray is a Raytard. We know that. It's easy to pick on somebody like Ray, but you know, sometimes even Raytards are right.
Yeah, I don't even know where I stand in the whole Ray Gino thing. I do think at the genesis of it, Gino might have reason to feel the way he does. But the fact that it's still a thing, I mean, maybe it's good for his show, though. Maybe that's what his audience wants. So you can't deny him that. All right, going back. Kay says the answer is not to take all this so seriously. Yeah, I'd rather be concerned about shit going on here than in real life and politics. Jeff Closer says, OJ, not a fan. I think he was talking about, oh, you're not a fan of Ari Jane. We're way behind. Sorry. Dr. Chow, she's a baddie, talking about AJ. Vaping Dago saying she's used Ray. Drunk on Cringe, the great Drunk on Cringe. She is eye candy. Logging Road King, I just like her with Ray. Yeah, they definitely have chemistry together. Tampalytic Converters, OJ is not a big fan on women.
Oh, that is not true. I love women.
My wife said the same. I was going through some of this with my wife, believe it or not, and she says that I just, because I was like, you know, there are girls at a DabbleCon. No girls in the Dabbleverse. And my wife got pissed. Vaping Dago. Oh, we got all kinds of stuff. Oh, Miles Magooby, Aries Two-Face, Chow's balls never dropped, 80-year-old man who never hit puberty. Tiger Lily, it's the Dabbler Adjacent podcast have been filled by the residents of a trailer park. It's like the Dabbler Adjacent podcast have been filled by the residents of a trailer park in West Virginia. Although I'm sweating like a pig in my basement. So Michaela, she's the love interest. Yeah, it's like a Sam and Diane from Cheers thing going on there, right? OJ 100% right on AJ. So AJ might be having some publicity problems according to our chat and what OJ said and what I said to a certain extent. Brian, he'll already witness her get married. He already witnessed her get married, so he'll be fine. So we'll be fine. Tubby/Tommy, everything they say is funny, partly because they believe it. It makes sense to them. That's the funny part. Let's see. I think I have Jeff Closer for $9.99. Thank you very much. He says, good show, guys. Dave Delafour. Dave Delaffer. Can you say it, OJ?
Dave Daffala, $99.99. Thanks to Obnoxious John. I'm going to read this right. Thanks to Obnoxious John and everyone here for making today easier. Yes, our good friend and beloved chatter. He lost his pet bird, the superstar P, yesterday, and it's been tough for him. Any animal lovers out there, you know, when you have a pet, you know that you're it's like you're losing a family member. So we're here for you, Dave.
Condolences, Dave. I'm really sorry to hear that. Is that the bird that's pictured in his profile picture?
Yes, that's
oh man. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that.
And he was the you know, the birds are a big thing on the Shuli network, and he was the start of all that. The birds. He was the first big bird.
Oh, okay, good. Well, hang in there, Dave. Condolences. Soft 17, $2. Oh, this is a good question. Who used Ray more, Ari or Elise? Or are we just a bunch of women hating whatever? Is this the women hating club? Does anybody? I don't know I don't know. I thought Elise for a little bit because she was like,
see, Elise is an actual comedian, you know. So
you think she has more of a place?
I think so.
Let's see. This is La Levi Grande, $2. Do you still consider yourself a Holocaust denier? I don't know who the you is in that. I'm certainly not. I don't think Brian is. OJ?
No, I'm not a denier.
In fact, I'm offended by the fact you didn't capitalize the H in Holocaust. That's how much I believe that absolutely happened. Beloved Chatter, $5. Hey, beloved Chatter, what's up? A reasonable man with a reasonable podcast at a reasonable hour. Very reasonable, Carlos. Yeah, I'm as boring as they come, man. All right, so I'm, you know, blah, 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 blah. Let's see what else is going in there. Wow, I missed so many chats. I apologize. I can't go through all these. Let me get to the bottom there to see what people are saying. I'm no Patrick Melton. By the way, Patrick Melton, By the end of this broadcast, we're going to talk about the Joke Man documentary. By the end of the podcast, I don't know if I said this at the beginning because we started twice. We have to decide on a dabbler of the week. I will tell you right now, mine is Patrick Melton. He's not a dabbler, but I'm going to consider himself an honorary dabbler, and the term means more than just the Stuttering John world. Tubby, Jake announced a new segment. Trust Jake. Super chat him $5,200. Then he'll send it back. That is a good scam. Right. Everyone says, Chow was saying on Ray's podcast weeks ago, the money laundering scheme is Kevin Brennan, but clearly it's Stevie Lou. Stevie Lou going around and getting bought off.
Yeah,
right?
like $200-$500 just to get rid of Stevie Lou.
I told him I can't have him on anymore because I'm not going to be fronting that money nonstop. Drunk on cringe. I think for someone to use you, you must offer people to use you. Okay, that's a good point. And a philosophical point, I guess, to some extent. Dr. Chow, Melton is crushed. Okay, we're back. Let me go back here. All right. That was This Week in Ray. I love Ray DeVito, but I just wanted to address those things. They've been eating away at me a little, and watch Ray's stream when he goes on later tonight, of course. Peter Gerner asks Spears a question. He's good at that shit. Well, Pete, you asked him a question. You're the chatter. But I think the only way we can answer a question from Pete Gerner is if he pays $5. Is that right, Brian?
Sure.
Wait, Deadpool $49.99. I don't even want to read this because it'll be clipped and sent to my job. This just in, Carlos Danger admits he's a Holocaust supporter. No, that's not true at all. And I just ran it through my head. Not true at all. So, all right, John or OJ, you got those chats? Can I go into the clips?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay,
we're all caught. Feel free to throw them up there if you like. Joke Man, the long anticipated Jackie Martling documentary was released this week. It's available rental or for purchase through Apple TV or through Amazon Prime. It is directed by Ian Carr, who was the co-host for many years of Jackie's Joke Hunt on Sirius Satellite Radio. Of course, the cast includes Jackie Martling, Anthony Cumia, Steve Grillo, I'm just reading IMDb, Penn Jillette, Artie Lang, Willie Nelson, and Sean Young. Sean Young, I think out of all those, Sean Young was the most surprising. And I know, Brian, you're a guy that works in movies and TV. I don't know how much.
Movie with Sean Young.
What's the name of the movie?
Oh, if I was going to say negative things, I don't know if I want to say anything.
Okay, don't say the name of the movie. But
how we had to hide all the liquor in the location before she got there.
So she's got some peculiarities.
She's a fun lady.
All right. Yeah, she hangs out with Jackie the Joke Man. Miles Magooby. OJ, did you fuck my sister in 1998? You might be the father of my nephew.
It's always a possibility.
People are out of hand with your Holocaust stuff. Yeah. So anyway, so that's the whole thing, right? So I think in general, well, Brian, you just watched it or you're almost done. So it's fresh in your mind. Do you want to share a couple of random thoughts real quickly? And this isn't going to be a long broadcast. We've been on for 47 minutes. We can wrap this up pretty quick. But what were your impressions of it as an old school Howard Stern fan, as a guy who still watches Howard Stern? I just want to put your qualifications out there. You're not on the internet. You're not like in subreddits talking about Howard Stern. You don't have an archive of the show anywhere, but you listen and you're a fan.
Yes. And I do think Jackie's era is probably the last time where like the Howard Stern character, like Howard was probably the last time he was like a real dude. Like that, the Jackie, as they followed that rise to fame, the last years of Jackie, Stern wasn't relatable anymore. I found the documentary very refreshing. It was very nice to sit back and just watch Jackie. I will say this. It's a little too self-produced for me. It's a little, it's missing Howard Stern. And that's a spoiler.
I forgot to say, spoiler alerts, people. Spoiler
How is
alerts.
I mean, listen, I think the minute you see the opening reel, you'll know Howard's not in this documentary, but it's not giving anything away, and it's not. So it's the one thing that is desperately missing, and also maybe like I'd rather see an OJ or a Cardiff or a B Dabbler do this. It's somebody in that world that might be have a little bit more of a critique. It was fun watching Jackie. I mean, it reminds me of the old days. The reason I fell in love with the Howard Stern show was, and I didn't even know what Jackie did at the time. You know what I mean? It was
right.
I like that they called him the drunk cheapskate. Like that was what was great. Jackie felt.
Beloved Chatter says it's been in the news that Howard wasn't in it. So I apologize because I thought I was on Bedabbler and with OJ and Cardiff the other day, and some people were saying spoilers because everyone wanted to know if Howard was in it. But all right.
And listen, there's not one story in there that I didn't find that like was a revelation to me. The revelation to me was finally seeing him do the gymnastics, seeing some of the jokes, just like. But it's Jackie being Jackie. I mean, it's what's weird in this whole new Dabble verse. I don't like the Stern guys. Like, I don't understand you guys are all you weirdos with your Stunning John fantastic. Like, oh, he farted today. Oh, he burped. He did this. I don't get all that. Like, Stunning John was
you
an
always
asshole.
Put yourself above everybody else.
Well, I am. I'm not like in these subreddits, like deep down. And the Stern guys, when they leave the show, they're dead to me. So when they're not on the show, it's like, all right, I can always relive them. And I listen to Jackie stuff all the time. Like I love Jackie. And but it's nice to see him, but it's also like, there's that part he's walking on the beach and it looks like, they always made fun of that beach being so rocky. It looked like he was in pain walking. It's either that or he's just really old. And that's the scary part.
I think it was both. Yeah. He was walking on a really rocky beach in Long Island and he's getting up there. Yeah, I kind of, to piggyback off what you're saying, yeah, there's nothing new in this documentary. It's all stories. Even like somebody like me, who is a more casual Stern fan than you, I haven't listened in years, and I don't have a photographic memory of everything that happened. I'm just, but all the stories that I was even aware of, it's not like in terms of the negatives, right? This is not a boundary pushing HBO type documentary. Beloved Chatter says Spears is an actual hellish nightmare room instead of a virtual subreddit one. Yeah, there's a lot. I grew up 2 houses from Spears.
This is just one room. You should see all the other ones. This is nothing.
Like
this is the
kilns, a lot of chemicals. He'll have nude models come over because he always has to take plaster. Is it plaster caster? That's not what it is.
I mean, it's more or less the same thing. We take
there's always random boobs
cast
in Spears's place. G-Rob, SJ doesn't just burp and fart, he drools and snots.
Yeah, I get it. But guess what? See, the thing about Stunning John is the exact same guy that he was when he was on the show.
But
he's just
here's the thing, Brian,
way older.
But when you watch his, I get what you're saying, because he was like my childhood hero. But
he
when
also
you watch,
was an idiot. Like he always claimed
but there was something
identifiable. Kiss me. I can beat Marco Battaglia in a foot
race. If you
race.
watch his stream now, it's impossible to like him.
No, it isn't. It's awesome. I'm on KB's team. Stunning John for the win, man. Stunning John is awesome now because he knows you guys are all watching him. I freaking think he's hilarious.
I think he's better than ever right now.
I think he's over. I'm over him. I'm over him, but I think he's friggin'
Where's Shuli? I sent Shuli the invite. I thought we had Shuli in here.
Because guess who's the
I thought Shuli we could broker peace between OJ and Shuli. Instead, you guys are just all pro the buffoon Stuttering John. He's more buffoonish than ever. But anyway, it's not a groundbreaking documentary. It's not epic in its scope. There's no flair like animation that we see in so many other documentaries now, like on Netflix and all that shit, or HBO, as I mentioned. It's definitely low budget. I'm reading from my notes. It's made by Jackie's friend Ian Carr, as I noted. Brian hinted to this too. But it's not a complete ego stroke.
No.
You know what I mean? It's not like the, what was it? Kevin Hart has a Netflix produced documentary on himself, and it's the worst shit ever. Jim Carrey, that Andy Kaufman thing, how he got into character to make the Milos Forman movie, Man on the Moon. That shit's unwatchable. Like, as much as it is made by one of Jackie's friends and it's Jackie friendly, there is an air of honesty to it. So it's like Brian said, it's very much like a warm blanket. You know, if you're a Howard Stern fan, I don't see how you can, an old Howard Stern fan, I don't know how you can not like this. It's very much a companion piece, and I think it was by design. It's this book, though. Like Jackie, I mean, you want him to bash Stern, you want the drama in here, and I think what this documentary proves, he's just a class act. He's not going to take a shit on Howard Stern as much as I think a lot of people want him to. He's not going to go the Stuttering John route. He's not going to do what Artie Lang did before he before he sobered up.
But also,
periods
if Howard Stern was a real man, he would have gave him 2 minutes. He would have gave him a quote. Like that's and I don't blame Jack. I'm sure Jackie asked.
Well, you'll see because you had 15 minutes to go.
And it's basically that's like, I get it. And it's so Jackie, come hell or high water, he wanted his story out there. And I found it very refreshing. I just want Jackie's laugh. If you can't enjoy Jackie's laugh for an hour and 15 minutes, why are we all here? I mean,
it's a short documentary too. It's not like it goes on. Yeah. It's sort of a bird's eye view of his entire life. And like you were just saying, I think the goal of this documentary, it's for Jackie to have something on the record that secures his legacy. It makes basically 2 points. There's 2 main points. There's 2 main themes that I thought of from this documentary. Jackie's led a weird life, right? He was a gymnast. Yeah. His family goes back on Long Island for a million years. He's a hippie, but he's also principled and honest, right? Like that's
and he's a damn good business guy. Like
he's a good,
all that stuff. Like they just have those like a career path.
You email him tonight, he'll get back to you. Yeah. He's still sending out Jokeland crap. Like he's a man of habit. He's a man of principle, and he's a good guy. And I think there's parts of the documentary where they talk about how everybody thought he was a drunk and a cheapskate. And that seemed to follow him after he left the show. And now that he's an older gentleman, it seems to bother him a little bit. And he wanted to get on the record that actually he's okay. Second thing, and I think this is definitely the whole purpose of the documentary, and I'm being Captain Obvious, he wants on the record that he was an important asset to the Howard Stern show. He of course referred, it was like the Beatles, he was the Ringo Starr in his mind. And that's really the 2 factors, the two themes of this documentary. So if you're into that, give it a shot. Logging Road King, Howard and the gang goofing on Jackie was hilarious. Absolutely. I miss Jackie. Thank God for YouTube. You can go back and watch all that. Thank God for the Howard Stern subreddit where people post all the old stuff and it all holds up. I'm being a fangirl, but whatever. All right. So I got a couple of clips. These are all really short and then we'll call it a night, right? Because we got, the Backyard Boys are coming on at 8 p.m. if you're into that. And then Chris Abel's Replayables is coming up at 9 p.m. And then Ray either comes on at 9 or 10 p.m. So I don't want to overstay my welcome. Now, these are audio clips because I couldn't figure out how to actually clip the movie because I'm a moron. And they were like copyright protection things. And it showed up on a blank screen and I couldn't get it to work. So this is a workaround. This is just quick. It's Artie talking about Jackie for half a second and then Stuttering John.
That laugh brings me back to so many wonderful times in my life.
Here's some Jackie laughs for you.
Miles Magooby, I'll be right over. Right. So, hey, look, John's in this documentary quite often. He comes across okay. Right. What were your impressions of John in the documentary?
He has a really good quote in there. I forget now what it was.
I think I play it.
Okay, because it makes a really good point. Like I was like, "Whoa, Sir John sounds intelligent." This was also a couple of years ago because John looks good for John.
Right. Although I mean,
like OJ right there, you know what I mean?
He's got some weird, right? Yeah. He's got some weird facial hair going on. Here is John just bragging.
I was the guy that was going to get the stories and bring them up on the air.
John, I think, would hang out with Jackie on the weekend just to get airtime the next day.
I think a lot of the reason some Stern fans get mad at me for leaving is because that, they didn't have that inside guy that would have no fear in busting Jackie, Fred, Gary, even Howard's balls. Like that to me was the best part of the show, was the inner soap opera, that all the squabbling. I could give a shit about the strippers. I can care about the celebrity interviews for the most part. To me, the best part of the show was all of us busting each other's balls.
That was
the clip,
line.
right?
Yeah, it was not that whole clip, because the grandiose beginning of that. It was it was the best part of the show, was busting the balls, and I think all of us here right now, we're into that more than we were into, like, let's throw baloney at the girl's butt.
And he was the king of stirring up shit. But yeah, in that quick clip of less than a minute, of 44 seconds, John makes good points, right? Yeah, it was definitely the back office radio stuff, as I said 100 times, right? Better than the celebrity interviews, better than throwing baloney at some chick's twat. But he says, I think people get mad at me for leaving because, like, he can't help but do that narcissistic overthinking and the self-importance, you know. John always making it about him. Yes, Josie Wells, thank you for crystallizing my thoughts perfectly. YouTube user, $20. I found it interesting that Stern, Robin, Gary, and even Fred no longer talk to him, as per Jackie. And how about Scott DePace being candid about Stern? All Stern cares about is himself. Brian, what say you?
Most of that, but the one guy that I'll say that it's more the Gary. Fred didn't like him by the end of the show. Fred and Robin were over Jackie because of the whole contract negotiation. They just felt
OJ, sorry.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that Robin was probably the main reason why Jackie couldn't come back. I think I do believe Howard would have probably brought Jackie back, but after he was
gone,
gone,
the Joke Man show or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Listen, also Howard. Oh, that's the beauty of Howard. When you leave the show, you're dead. That's why Howard's good.
Like, you follow him blindly. You can't respect. You have no respect for Shuley only because he's not on the show anymore.
Well,
not that he's done anything.
You know, I've heard his comedy.
All right. The last two clips, and they're only a minute each. It talks about basically Jackie's demise on the show, which we all know about. But I highly recommend people watch this documentary. I mean, for $6, and it's an hour and 15 minutes.
No, it was
really,
totally worth it.
You can't go wrong. Here's this is called Team Effort. I don't remember what it is, but I titled it Team Effort.
Jackie felt that the show was a team effort. And I'm not sure that Howard always sees it that way. That's going to get me in trouble.
That's Scott DePace. I don't know if I put that in there. I got to start it again. Sorry.
Jackie felt that the show was a team effort. And I'm not sure that Howard always sees it that way. That's going to get me in trouble.
Howard's been known that there wasn't a lot of sharing of the good things that came out of such a team effort. And that seemed to be something that Jackie wasn't happy with. He would have liked to have been rewarded a little more for his part.
The abuse that you get from Howard, the lack of acknowledgement for the hard work and the jokes that you're writing, I think at some point that takes a toll.
It's the empire he built, you know, but you can fall under the weight of your own hype. Like, in other words, if you start destroying the support beams, it'll show, you know.
It's toxic, man. It's toxic. They have this corporate mentality.
Hold on a second, guy. All right, listen.
Grillo's
I
the
get
best.
it. Like, let's bash Stern, but all those guys were at the apex of their career, the highest level of their careers on the Howard Stern show. So everyone that's saying, like, it's called the Howard Stern show. Of course I found it fascinating when Joe Piscopo said, you were under the table and you were just handing up the jokes so no one knew you were writing for Howard. But hey, how many people didn't know Robin was black? You know what I mean? Like, that was the show. Yeah. Like, back in the day, you didn't understand how all of this worked. But, you know, I mean, sure, yeah, Howard is an egomaniac, but that's what made the show great for so many years.
And OJ, were you? I know everybody always asks this question, but I'll do it anyway. Were you a Jackie guy or an Artie guy?
Yeah, where did we talk? We talked about this actually on
I think with Cardiff,
Casey Armstrong show.
Oh, okay.
I was an Artie guy.
Yeah, so was I. But like watching this documentary, I think maybe that's another reason he did it. People forget how
And
good
Artie
he
was great. It's hard to listen to Artie now. Like
he's great in this doc. I mean,
no, he's great.
Film,
What I mean is,
he's so
it's hard
gracious.
to go back and listen to some of the great Artie stuff, knowing like his life was just, out of control. Like I find that a little upsetting now. Like he was just a full-on junkie. I do want to. There's a comment from Mike Sexton. Yeah, I still listen to the show.
YouTube user $10. That's my point. I am surprised Spears is such a fanboy. We'll discuss further one day. Talk soon. All right. So the last clip I'll play, it's called Jackie's Demise. And
but I gotta say though,
sorry.
I did like Jackie a lot. It is hard to say which era was the best one. It's just Artie was my personal favorite era. That's all. But Jackie was fucking great. And Spears mentioned it earlier. How could Jackie's laugh, that iconic laugh, that you hear that laugh and you would laugh, even if it was the dumbest, unfunny joke told on the air.
Or the worst news story, just to have Jackie laugh at a bunch of kids burning in a building.
Child death. Yeah.
It was so funny.
Yeah. Mondo Creepy says this will all be covered next week on the Channel 9 show. That's right. Mondo Creepy. Go to Mondo Creepy on YouTube. Might be Mondo Creepy TV. I don't understand. It's a friend of the show, Matt Maisto, and a friend in real life. He's a skilled video editor, production guy, and he's going to be doing something with the Channel 9 show. And I think the long-term plan, I think we can say this, he's going to revisit a bunch of shows that were on WWOR back in the day. I think, and then like if you're from the tri-state area, it was right. Richard Bay, Morton Downey, I can't remember, Steam Pipe Alley, right? Those are all those back in the day. Tubby's a Jackie guy.
Go find Mondo Creepy. I'm very excited. So if you guys are a fan of this universe, go find Mondo Creepy. Puts out good stuff.
Yeah, and OJ, you should go on. Mondo Creepy, it's hard to look at Artie now. Yeah. Logging King Road. Jackie and Artie had different roles. Artie had a much more vocal role. I love them both. Yeah. That's
Also,
really
the show was
well
so
said.
different.
Good
The
point.
show was so different. Like there was some, like if you go back and listen to the Jackie years, they're great because they're talking about their home lives.
Yeah.
It's not like having dinner at
and now that I'm an
Nobu
old
anymore.
man, like married with kids, it's even like, I'm like, oh God, that resonates so much. Oh yeah, I got to chase the goddamn kids
Like
around.
those
Oh, life is
barbecues,
hell.
those barbecues that Jackie would throw, and you would hear about that. That was 3 days of talking about that on the show.
The shrimp in the garbage can.
Yeah, the crab, right? Lobsters
Crab.
in a garbage
Lobster.
can.
Yeah, that's what. Right.
Nancy not making. She made corn on the cob at midnight. There was no other. They hadn't even start cooking the food yet.
And Nancy's in this documentary the
Yeah.
most, it felt like, out of all the talking heads. YouTube user $10. Will this now be Fridays, or will you still be doing Sundays? I don't know. It depends on how many people are shot, arrested, or sentenced to jail where I live and what's going on. Mondo Creepy, the first 5 years of the show on Sirius with Artie was as good as anything in the history of the Stern Show.
Yeah.
This comes from a guy that listens to Ron and Fez.
Again, they were great. Both were great in their own way. Jackie with the jokes and everything he gave to Stern, and how he helped that show with all of his comedy. And yeah, who mentioned that earlier? And Artie was more of a talkative character.
Beloved Chatter hits it right here.
This is interesting.
This is it.
Beloved Chatter says, I was a fan of Jackie's more innocent hijinks in my teens and early 20s. Artie hit perfectly as I became a miserable adult.
Yeah.
Read that for our audio-only listeners, all 10 of you.
That is exactly it, because, I grew up on Stern, so it was like that youthful period with Jackie, and they couldn't do anything. It was all innuendos, and it was that laugh, guys. It was the laugh.
Yeah.
Laughing at his own jokes. Come on.
Yeah,
That's
somebody
awesome.
earlier, I think it was Tampalytic Converters, said, I think he was asking you, who do you like more? Which sound do you like more? Which laugh do you like more? Jackie's or Billy West's as Jackie? And that's tough. I think I'd go with Billy West. All right, here's our last clip, and then I guess we'll call it a night. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. It's very nice. Not too many fat jokes. I appreciate that. But this is Jackie's demise. It's only 52 seconds.
Jackie had the best job in radio, but there was no competition for his services. His mistake was he didn't have the leverage to say, well, I'm going to go over to this other show that's syndicated in 50 markets where they're going to pay me for 50 markets.
Billy West and I both left to do better things. Jackie, he played his hand and he should have had something else, even if it was being a writer for like a lesser of a show, for a Dynamis or something. But he should have had something before he left. I tried to talk him out of it. And I said, Jackie, stick it out 5 more years. Then you never have to work again. It's a shame. He's 70 now and he still has to do all these gigs because he's got to make a living. And he wouldn't have had to do that if he would have just fucking listened to this stuttering prick.
John knew. He just can't help himself. You gotta love stuttering John Melendez. Anyway, I guess that's that. So please, I would give it. All right, maybe we should go around. I mean, OJ didn't see it, but maybe Brian, you and I can just give it. How many stars would you give it out of 4? I would give it 3 out of 4 stars. It's like settling in with a warm blanket.
I'd probably say, yeah, it doesn't deserve to be a 2, and it certainly should be maybe not, but 3 is good. I could deal with 3.
And of course we're heavily, but I mean, the other thing about this doc, and I said I would,
and that's the only thing. It's not really it's not as bad as those Netflix docs.
And the thing is, it's also, I don't think it's made for like mainstream.
No,
like, this isn't something that would be picked up by an HBO. Yeah. You have to. Yeah, if you have no idea about any of it, it's probably unwatchable. It's definitely made for the fans. But I guess the last thing I had said at the beginning of this broadcast, we would name the Dabbler of the Week. And we're being liberal with the use of the word dabbler. It can also include MLC, MLC adjacent, hackverse, shitverse, mudverse, whatever you want to call it, whatever floats your boat. I'll make a first nominee. Patrick Melton of Nobody Likes Onions is the Dabbler of the Week for 3 reasons. On Monday, he went on MLC and told everyone to mail stuff to the Comedy Cellar. I believe in Greenwich Village. The Village is where that is. Because that's where Ray gets his mail when he's in New York. Pretty funny. Also, he had a complete screening of Kevin Brennan's sitcom. The name escaped me. What was it? One Good Son or something like that? Somebody in the chat probably knows.
Is it Favorite Son?
Favorite Son with Bobby Lee.
Yeah.
I thought Melton was awesome in that respect. And then his court footage. His whole dispute with Butch Bradley, Melton puts in an FOI request, gets the footage, and does like a 5-hour broadcast detailing the argument that he had with Butch Bradley in front of a judge, which Melton won. Butch Bradley was trying to get a restraining order, and it was very good. So I think
horrible.
Patrick Melton, Dabbler of the Week. You can both vote for that or nominate your own.
I'm gonna go first, Spears, just because I want you to take my side. Hopefully, maybe.
Oh, we do have a YouTube user, $10. Nancy was Jackie's mouthpiece in bashing Stern and the crew in the documentary. Yeah, I agree to that to a certain extent, but they're all pretty respectful of Stern. Okay, OJ, sorry.
Yeah, no. So my nominee would be Cardiff Electric. He has not been nominated yet. He's in an ongoing feud with Chad Zumock. He recently was on with Stuttering John. I think he's been on fire. I'm going with Cardiff.
All right,
Guys,
so
whose show you were on the last 3 days?
Well, I've been on Cardiff's show.
Yeah, you've been on that
times.
too. I watched you guys. Oh, it was riveting.
Yeah, I was falling asleep. I shouldn't have went on the other night. I dragged the whole thing down. I was yawning. I apologize, Cardiff, El Harible, and OJ. I'm diabetic. I'm getting a month off.
Oh, you weren't the only one to blame, man.
Listen to you. Oh yeah, go ahead. Go piss off the anonymous dabblers, Brian. See how that
I'm just saying it was like you guys were hurting. It was a rough show.
All right, so
I guess he's not going to side with me this time.
Thanks, Ebert. So who do you think was the Dabbler of the Week? Are you too good for it?
Listener that didn't have to listen to Shuley while he was banned on YouTube.
So you're saying Shuley is the Dabbler of the Week,
sure?
By benefit of being kicked off YouTube for a week.
Yes, I'll give Shuley that credit.
So we've got 3 nominees. We've got Patrick Melton. We've got Cardiff Electric, And we've got Shuli, but in a sort of negative way that Brian's thrown out there. So
maybe you could throw up a poll on Twitter or something, see what the fans think.
Well, you know what? We're going to go less low rent than that. The first person that puts one of those names in the chat that I see, that will be the Dabbler of the week starting now. See you in AC, Carlos, with Ray. I'm not going to go to AC because there's no show. I don't gamble. Cardiff Electric. Waiver says Cardiff Electric. That breaks the stalemate. It breaks the Mexican standoff. Cardiff Electric, ladies and gentlemen, nominated by Obnoxious John, is this week's Dabbler of the week. Congratulations, Cardiff. I was thinking back to the first time, Brian, we had Cardiff on our stream. Cardiff had reached out to me via via Twitter. This is a $10 super chat from a YouTube user. Kevin's pilot was named number one son. As am I. I go with Melton. Yeah, Melton is good. But he said, like, I'll do your show. I hadn't invited him on, but he just said, I'll do your show. And then I was really worried he was just coming on there to troll us, because I was like, I didn't really know Cardiff. I just knew he had screwed with Jackie, and I was so nervous. And I saw him have some interactions with Kevin Dumpfuck, which made me nervous. But then, like 10 minutes in the interview, it was just like talking to anybody about Howard Stern. So, like, it never really occurred to me, oh, yeah, it's a guy. But, everyone always says, oh, yeah, it's a floating potato. But I love Cardiff Electric is what I'm trying to say, and I'm just rambling. I apologize. I'm going to do this to myself.
Shut the fuck up, Ray.
All right, I will. All right, guys, it's Cardiff Electric. Thank you, Waiver, for breaking the tie. Does anybody have anything they want to add? I know, OJ, you have a busy Saturday morning. Do you want to talk about what's coming up on Be Dabbler? What's the show called?
Be Dabbler. Yeah, I know. We agree. It's horrible marketing.
Be Dabbler Live. Be Dabbling Live.
Be Dabbling Live. The show channel is Be Dabbler, and he is Al Horrible. There's a lot going on there. But yeah, Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Every Saturday morning at 10 a.m.
Eastern time. The only time that counts.
The only time that matters.
You have any guests lined up?
I think so. And I should know this. I believe Husey maybe
the killer.
Yeah, I'm not positive if he is joining us or not. But I believe oh my God. The Aussie guy. Jeez, I was having a brain fart. The Aussie guy who he comes onto our show every once in a while. He's a great guy to have on the show. I know he's going to be with us, and we're going to be covering a plethora of things.
Cool. Yeah, it's been another busy week. Is there any chance Vince the lawyer is going to call in again?
There's always that possibility.
Oh, and Be Dabbler's in there. Your boss is in there. Wait, I just want to address this. Brian, is there anything else you want to plug? I know you shared a poster for some new movie that's playing where at Fantasia Fest or something like that?
Fantasia. So anyone in Montreal, go check out Blackout. It's a Glass Eye Pix film. It's a Wolfman movie. And it's screening currently in Montreal.
Good. All right. And I guess maybe I'll be back next week. But after this comment from Pontiva, maybe I won't. Hey, Carlos, seen yous on the PBD podcast the other day. Not a great showing by you, if I must say. So what I say to that, Pontiva...